This week on Backyard Footy.
Like this is a massive thing and a lack of here in this country. As much as you tell a kid what to do, as much as you teach a kid, kids here don't watch enough soccer.
I agree with that.
They don't watch enough soccer, you know? And if you watch the game, you learn so much just by watching it, you know? Because for a kid that watches a right back and how a right back gets out of pressure, then when he is playing right back, he's gonna try to, do the same thing he just saw. Whether he's got the skill at that moment, it's totally different, but the idea is there. And you can have coaches telling you all day, you can have, all this little thing, all this technology, but if you don't see it, if you don't watch a soccer game, you don't understand the game, at the end of the day, the game is just like playing, chess.
Yo, what up, footy fans? It's your host, Hugh Roberts, aka Superhuman. Follow me on all platforms, IG, Twitter, Facebook. Also follow Backyard Footy on all social media platforms, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so you can see behind the scenes training footage. We recorded some training footage today. Get to see Enzo behind the field and how he works on the field. This is the 29th episode of Backyard Footy, where each episode I dive into the backgrounds, journeys, and experiences of all professionals, former athletes, and anyone that's been involved with the game, really, coaches as well. So yeah, a quick little update on me. It's my second year here out in Charlotte. I was fortunate enough where they picked up my option, brought me back here for the second year, so here I am. There's a good 10 of us now here signed, good little core from last year as well, so we're excited to get this year started. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, as you see, we're here recording in the ESPN studios. I was blessed enough where 7:30 the game out here in Charlotte, the radio station, picked up my show, brought it to their soccer department. So now I'm taking over their soccer realm and spreading the beautiful game of soccer here in the Queen City. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Enzo Martinez, two-time USL League finalist, former Colorado Rapper. Colorado Rapids in the MLS, and 9th year pro, and here the captain of us here in Charlotte Independence. So without further ado, what's good, Zo? How are you?
Thank you for having me, Hugh.
Of course. How's your preseason going?
Oh man, it's going well. Obviously, it's kind of tough to get back into the rhythm of being off for so many months and then starting again. But as a soccer player, that's the best time of the year.
How's it feel now to be back here in Charlotte, coming from Colorado?
Yeah, obviously, I'm a lot older than I was when I started doing this. So it's a lot of fun, and it's also a lot of responsibility and a lot of learning and helping as much as I can.
How'd you well, first of all, tell us how was last season for you?
Yeah, obviously as you know, we did not achieve the things that we wanted to. Every year, our goals are the same, and we want to win the USL Championship, and that's what we work for every day. That's what we prepare for every day, and that's the mentality that we go out in training and games with. Obviously, if I don't get to lift that trophy at the end, then to me, it wasn't successful. There's always things that you can be proud of. There's things that you can say you did right, and a lot of things that you did wrong. But the goal is always the same, and not satisfied with last year.
Of course. So learning from last year, kind of transitioning to this year, kind of what's your mindset, mentality? You did say obviously win the championship as well, but from preseason starting on to now, regular season getting ready to start, how are you kind of switching that mindset?
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the season is it's easy to say all the things that went wrong, and during the season we see a lot of those things that aren't going the right way, but a lot of the time we don't speak up for many reasons. It happens to everyone. For me this year, I don't want to keep my mouth shut in a way. I want to nip all the little things that cost us points, that cost us wins, that right away. As soon as we see it, we got to cut that out, and that's a big thing that I'm going in with. The mentality this year is the fact that as soon as we see those things, we gotta nip him in the butt right there and move on from him.
Yeah, we have a much younger team than last year too, so even from my perspective as a center back, I might be, a 7-year pro, whatever, still kind of young in the soccer realm, but from the jump up, my mentality has been the same way, being vocal, leading these young boys, because I think we're going to still have a younger roster in comparison to last year. So like you're saying, from the day one, getting on top of these guys, showing what Charlotte football is kind of like is important to get ready for this first game. So kind of tell us how that experience was for you out in Colorado.
Yeah, for me it was great. I think I learned a lot about the game. The place is very beautiful, and anytime you get to, especially for me, anytime you get to be in a new situation, I love to learn as much as I can, and from every situation. And I think I learned a lot from being in Colorado, my time there. I was lucky enough to play a lot and be part of the team, which that sometimes is tough, So for me, the experience has kind of light a different fire in me to continue to push myself every day. And sometimes you need those things. Sometimes players get too comfortable. Sometimes we don't push ourselves enough. And it was a good reminder to keep pushing every day.
Great. How did you switch your mindset though, coming from the USL? Obviously, you're a 2-time league finalist MVP, to now being in the major leagues in Colorado. How did you switch your mindset going into the major leagues?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the way you prepare yourself throughout your career. I've always treated every situation, no matter where I play, if I'm playing, a pickup with friends, or if I'm playing for the Independents, or if I'm playing for Colorado, or if I'm playing against, anyone. My mentality is always the same. I want to win, and I want to push myself as much as I can, and absolutely make sure that, everything that I can control, I do, and the rest would and should take care of itself. So the mentality for me hasn't changed. Didn't change going from Charlotte to the Rapids and from the Rapids to Charlotte. It's all the same. But obviously you learn a lot and you kind of build on those experiences and you adapt the way you think about things throughout your career.
Would you say the level is far off in between the USL and the
I wouldn't say far off, but obviously there is a difference. And I just think that, for guys, they need to understand, no matter what level they're in, that they have to push themselves to want to play in Europe. That should always be the goal for everyone. And if the second you kind of let go of that dream and the second you let go of that mentality, then you are going to have another player that will come along and take your spot right away, because they're going to push for that. And as long as you're pushing yourself to the max, to the limits, then you can achieve that, And I feel like that's a big thing that I saw also in the Rapids, is that a lot of players push themselves without needed to be told that, and then it makes the whole squad better, because if you're not ready, then you're going to get run over.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And that's how it is kind of when you switch from college to the professional realm. Exactly. You're sleeping for one day in training and someone's ready for your job the next little opportunity, so I agree. So kind of tell us your story, give us your little experience and your journey, how you got here in Charlotte.
Yeah, so I grew up in Uruguay, which is a huge soccer country, and that's kind of, since I've been a little kid, Alex and I had the same goal, the same dream to play soccer, and that's all we did every single day. We literally went outside and played soccer. We fought all the time because we would play against each other, and I've been lucky to have a guy like Alex to compete against every single day of my life. It is exactly, and vice versa. We benefited so much from being young, being close to age, to loving the same thing and having the same goal as little kids. So that kind of started everything for me in soccer. So I moved here to the U.S.
How old were you?
I was 10 years old. I just turned 10, and Alex was 9. Moved here, and actually the first maybe 2 years, 3 years, we did not play any soccer because we didn't know the language. We didn't know how the system here worked. We didn't know anything about club, none of that, So Actually, we started playing for a club called the Scarves Soccer Club, which now merged with Independence. So you know, we started everything here locally. We started a club here. We're fortunate to win a national championship with that club, and then went to college to UNC Chapel Hill. You know, kind of stayed local as well. And I was lucky to have a good team and, you know, win a national championship there. And then I was drafted to Salt Lake, where I learned a lot, you know. I was young and I was so blessed to have that opportunity, and I was there for a couple of years. Then from there I went to, now that is NCSC, back then it used to be called the Railhawks.
How long were y'all with the Salt Lake for?
2 years. I was with them 2 years. Then I went to Riverhounds for a year. Then when I finished there, the Independence got a team, a USL team. So it was an awesome opportunity to play the professional level and to be close to home. So came here, and I was here, I think it was either 3 or 4 years. Then went to the Rapids for a year, and then back here last year and this year. So, I mean, those, you know, I feel like I've been everywhere, but I've gotten to experience a lot and to see a lot and learn a lot, which is the most important thing.
Right. Would you say, you know, your background and experience from Uruguay coming up to here helped groom you to become a professional, or more so the American system, playing with the Charlotte Academy, you played with the Discovery Club all the way until high school, college? Would you say that groomed you more, or your mindset, mentality from Uruguay got you here?
Yeah, I think I've been lucky to have the best of both worlds.
Right.
You know,
A lot of people don't have that too.
Right, exactly. I from a young age I learned the Uruguayan way, which in soccer is massive. You know, you run. You work hard, and you don't play for yourself. You play for the team and for the jersey you wear, and that's, you guys, you can see anytime you watch the Uruguay national team. That's not taught in Uruguay. Right. You know, like no one needs to tell you. You see that growing up, right. So you know what to expect. So I got that vision, that desire, that, you know, that style of play from when I was little. And then I come here and I learn also different things, you know, to be disciplined. You know, the American mentality now is evolving a lot, but is very kind of European, very English, where, you know, is kind of direct, but it's also important to have the ball, and you're taught to not to turn the ball over from a young age. So, you know, that combination of the two things have helped me be the player who I am today, and also, you know, moving here to the U.S. and having to adapt to that also plays a big part in having to adapt to soccer, because, you know, as much as we love a certain style, the game is not one way. It's not, you can't play the game just one way. It evolves, and if you have that type of mentality and personality where you can adapt to things and, you know, and learn quickly, then you'll be successful, especially in the soccer world.
No, I completely agree with that. And that's what's got you here, as we see clearly, though.
Right.
But definitely being able to adapt to new situations, even new organizations that you go to, all the teams that you've been on. If you're not able to adapt to coach, I remember the one story you're telling us last week about the coach in Colorado wanting you to run all the time, midfielders run from the midfield all the way down the line. If you didn't decide to do that every single time, you're either getting fined or you're sitting on the bench and your opportunity is gone. So sometimes even just putting your pride aside, being humble, and doing what the coach has asked for can get you a roster spot and a contract over so-and-so.
Yeah, I mean, that's massive. Sometimes we kind of, you know, with this time where you see videos and you see players and where there are, it's a very small number of players in the world that have that kind of Latin personality. Right. You know, there's very few players. So, you know, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to play for the team. You have to be able to listen and learn what is being asked of you and go out there and get it done. And because, you know, as a player you have a certain mentality, but then one day if you love the game enough, you're going to have the mentality of a coach. And when you get to have that mentality of a coach, you're going to understand, right. You know, most coaches have a vision, and they want to see that vision in the field, and whether you agree with it or not, is something that you have to learn to adapt and see through.
So who are you watching on the field like that? I don't know if you're watching the English League, Barclays, or Spanish League preferably, but what teams and kind of what players are you watching out there in the field that you like to emulate?
Yeah, obviously. I know that everyone, this is an easy one, but for me, Messi, just the way he reads the game, besides the fact that he has an incredible ability on the ball, on the dribble, just the way he sees the game, and I try to pick the best of each player and also recognize the bad things from each player and every team. And, it's, I feel like this is a massive thing and a lack of here in this country. As much as you tell a kid what to do, as much as you teach a kid, kids here don't watch enough soccer.
I agree with that.
They don't watch enough soccer, And if you watch the game, you learn so much just by watching it, Because for a kid that watches a right back and how a right back gets out of pressure, then when he is playing right back, he's gonna try to, do the same thing he just saw. Whether he's got the skill at that moment, it's totally different, but the idea is there. And you can have coaches telling you all day, you can have, all this little thing, all this technology, but if you don't see it, if you don't watch a soccer game, you don't understand the game, at the end of the day, the game is just like playing, chess or any other thing. There's a way to do it, and if you can't learn the way to do it, then everything else will become hard.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. I think there's a lot that goes into that. Having Andrew Goodman on my show last time, he was talking about how the U.S. doesn't have a lot of eyes to scout the proper and right talent, eyes to where we're actually experiencing coming from like European style of play to then emulate down here. Like you said, it's very direct down here. And a lot of it is because like they're not watching soccer, and that goes into what I say sometimes, how it's never shown on TV, how even in our own country, barely people even know about the Major League Soccer, and a lot of that's because it's not shown on TV, it's not shown as like a cool sport like that, and so people turn the eye to that, and it is growing now. But either you're watching Barclays on Saturday or Sunday morning, and it's only like true soccer heads who are watching that. If you're not a soccer follower, you're not watching soccer because it's not on TV. And so kids, even from an early age, don't have no idea about soccer until they want to try it themselves. Or even if they want to try it, it's not on TV, so you got to go on YouTube and then just watching like Ronaldo doing step over certain skills. But like you said, you have to watch your player in your position. That's what we all do now as pros. I can't even watch a soccer game regularly. I'm always watching my position, watching how the forward is moving and their kind of moving. But that's how you learn. It's almost like doing homework every single time you watch a game like that. So I completely agree. I think that's coming some of the issues here in this country where it needs to be broadcast more, it needs to be shown more. People, are still sleeping on it, and it's understandable as well, but it's growing, and I think it's going to take some time, but exactly what you said, people need to be aware and watch it some more.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I think that obviously they changed from when we first started playing to now. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable, teams that we see in our league.
Yeah.
Now the majority of the teams play, maybe when we first started, it was more of that college mentality where it was direct, and even now in college, teams play, and all the levels now teams play and understand the right way, and you go watch academies play,
That's what I was gonna say too.
and academies they play the right way, so all that mentality has moved to the right direction, and there needs to be that patience because again, soccer in this country is, I think Major League Soccer just celebrated their 25th year, and you're talking about in other countries you're competing with a sport that's been established for 120, 130 years, so that takes time. The direction that I feel like soccer is going here can only go, have an even bigger impact. You see now the youth guys now are in top clubs in Europe, from here, and that's great to see, and it helps the sport. It helps the sport from the top level to the lowest level.
Yeah. kind of piggybacking off that, how do you feel about the new MLS team coming here in Charlotte?
Yeah, obviously, I think that the opportunity it brings young kids will be unreal. I don't think that that people understand the impact it will have until they see it. For guys like us who have been part of it, we do understand the impact. The opportunities for the kids around here will be huge. You know, if we're able to create that pyramid where you have the MLS, USL Championship, USL 2, and the youth club, then you literally have a way to get from you know, starting soccer at 6, 7, 5-year-old to the highest level there is here, and you could do it all here. You know, you could grow up here and you could do it here, and that is unbelievable. And then besides that, the atmosphere of MLS games, they're unbelievable. They're awesome, and when people go and experience that, people get hooked. Soccer is totally different than any sport, you know, and the fans actually play a massive part in the entertainment side of the game too. So it's a sport that you feel like you actually help a lot as a fan. And I think that once people go to the games, they'll get hooked, you know. I'll find it very hard for someone to go to an MLS game with how the atmosphere are, the level of play, for someone to say, I didn't like that.
And I agree. Even when I moved down here, whenever the Mexico national team played, they block off all the streets out here, and there's like 50K worth of Mexican fans. It feels like you're almost in Mexico per se, but that's the culture out here. And I didn't even know it was that big like that. Coming from DC, it's kind of big as well. It's very international up there, so people understand. But down here, and then the women's national team, they come to games as well. It's almost selling out every arena too here in Bank of America, and I was very impressed. So, like you said, for them to have their own major league team here, for the kids now to have something to work hard for, to see that it's literally in their own backyard. Maybe they'll start coming out to more games, understanding it more, and it's just really just understanding. Really, people don't really take the time to understand soccer because they think it's boring and all these things. But in comparison to baseball, hockey, all the slower sports, it's very exciting, and that's why it's growing more in this country now too. So, no, I completely agree.
You have the kind of all the kids that play soccer now get into an age where, you know, they either have a job or some of them have kids or some of them are in college, and they understand the game, and that's the beauty of it. Like, every sport has something amazing about it. If it didn't, then people wouldn't be interested, you know. And once you learn the reason of the game or how the game is played or why players make certain decisions, then you really understand the beauty, you know, and all that it brings, and you know, how hard the sport is, and how hard it is to score a goal. And then once you understand all that, the feeling that you get when the ball goes in the back of the net is unbelievable.
So going off. Going off how hard the game of soccer is, it's kind of why it's very intricate and, you know, a little more slow paced compared to other sports. But it's like chess, as you're saying, what makes your position the number 10 position? For people who don't know, That's the center attacking mid position, kind of the position right behind the forward. Basically the most important piece of the whole puzzle when it comes to a team. So what kind of makes your spot very relevant and important for a soccer team to be successful?
Yeah, I think obviously there's not a single position in the field that would be successful without the team having one mindset and knowing how to play and knowing how to play off each other. For me, I think there's the number 10, the old school number 10 was that guy that was extremely good on the ball. And he didn't have to run a lot. But now the game has changed, and the number 10, a lot of teams like to play with a deep 6 that loves to build from teams, and now that's the responsibility of the number 10 is to kind of do a lot more defensive work. And for me, that's where everything starts. You have to be able to defend as a number 10, and then if you get that job done, then it makes it easier for the ball to come to you,
Right.
And it's a position that I always played forward, so I enjoy being close to the goal, and I also like to be good on the ball. So I kind of feel like that kind of was the best of both worlds for me.
No, I agree. So what do you watch more? La Liga, BPL, German League? What do you watch a little more?
Honestly, whatever I can catch at the moment, but
So comparing the leagues though, what kind of separates, let's say, La Liga, Barca, and them? Obviously it's very extreme. So let's break it down even for like a small division club, a mid-table club, let's say like a Leicester or something. What separates them from like an MLS team?
Yeah, obviously, the quality they have is kind of like what we're talking about. The quality of those players is unbelievable. Sometimes you watch the game and it's easy for someone to say, a player should have done this, a player should have done that, because they are so good on the ball that a lot of the times they don't make mistakes.
Right.
The plays don't break down because those guys take a bad touch or can't make a pass. They're so good on the ball that those things are automatic, and they happen, and you see it happen. And I think the one thing is just the biggest difference between La Liga, the European football, Champions League football, to other leagues, and then from other leagues to second division, and from second division to third in college and youth, and then you go to little kid, is how each possession finishes. When you look at the top teams, most of their possession finishes on a dangerous situation, because those players have the skills, because they have the quality, and then once they have the quality, then they can learn how to break opponents down, and that's when those little pieces come into big play. And I think that's a big difference. If you just watch a game and count how many passes are made. Obviously, you don't just want to put 100 passes every possession, but watch how many passes are made and what that possession finished like. And you can see a massive difference between European football and football here, and college, and just how each possession finishes is a massive indicator of the level that those guys is. And if you're finishing with 5 shots a goal, it's a hard sport to get shots on goal. It's not an easy one. So that's in my opinion, one of the biggest difference that I see when I watch.
Yeah, definitely quality possession in the passes, and for me too, I think kind of like the decision making. If you go into the MLS next year, you're already at top level, so it's not necessarily for me about your athleticism. It's going to come down to your decision making. Do you one touch out of a situation or 2 touch? Do you turn or do you come back? Because a lot of times I tell these young boys, like, you have the talent already. Now it's going to come up to here in your mind, and then the decision making is: do you keep the ball? Do you come back? Do you play a 1 touch and 2 touch? A lot of times that takes years to develop when to do that as well, because everyone's the best on their high school team, their club team, maybe the college team coming out. So now how do you separate yourself from the elite group? And as you're saying, the best over in Europe and the best around the world really play simple. 1, 2 touches, maybe a third to get out of trouble, but they already know ahead of time what they're doing. For the most part, from when I watch the game, like I see the difference in that. And as we start doing these preseason games and scrimmages and stuff, it really comes down to, of course, the quality, but it's just the decision making at certain times.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. The game of soccer is, in my opinion, is beautiful because of that. Because you have, let's say, in the past 10 years, you have the best two players in the world are totally different two players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have one that is very athletic, big guy, and then you have a guy who's really small and maybe not as athletic, and they have been able to learn the game, and that's why they're successful, because they know the game. They know where to be, their decision making, and that's it. In my opinion, the beauty of the game, because you could be tall, you could be good, you could be short, you could be good, you could be slow, you could be good, you could be fast, you could be good, but also, you know, all those things tied through exactly what you said: decision making, being good at the ball, understanding the game, and in my opinion, that's the beauty of the game, and it takes a long time to learn. You know, it takes a long time.
What do you think is the future of football here in this country?
Oh, I think it'll be one of the top sports. I don't think, you know, I don't think when people say, is it going to take over this sport, that sport? No, it's just like NFL is massive here, and you know, Major League Baseball is massive, hockey's massive, basketball is massive. You know, it'll just be another massive sport. It's heading in the right direction. Obviously, you see with the new team that's coming here to Charlotte, where the franchise prices have gone, and the quality of the stadiums, and the quality of the atmosphere in games, and most important, the quality of the players. You know. The game here in the U.S. is fun because you have most of the sports here are built on athletic ability, you know. So you still have that DNA in the American soccer game where being athletic plays a big part of it, and when you add that with the skill of the game, then you're gonna create a really good athlete. And a really good soccer player, and I think that's where it's heading here, and that's why I think it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, going off even from what you said earlier, how the academy system's starting to change, how the kids are starting to become more technical, and a lot of that's because it's much more available on social media now. People are seeing the intricate parts of the game, your one-touch, two-touch, coming out of the pockets. Yes, it's being taught a lot better and a lot more, and so that transition now from the athleticism that we already have in this country to now the technical side is definitely going to take off. And we, like you said, we have kids already in the European system as a teenager, so that's the next big wave of the whole generation that's going to come through, not going through college system anymore, coming straight from the youth to pros. And like a lot of times too, I tell some kids, if you have an opportunity as a 17-year-old to go pro, where you're playing 10 months of a year instead of in college when you're playing 3, and you know you have a good chance, and if this is your dream, you might want to take that opportunity, because yes, you can always go back to college too, but in 3-4 years, say you don't play in 3 years, you're only 20 years old. Whereas I came out of college when I was 21, 22, and I still had to learn the game even out of college, because I came from a mid-major, so we didn't even play like that. So I had to learn the game myself, and that's years behind of a kid who's already a teenager from Europe, especially now coming over here, and it's the dominance. And then you look at like Atlanta United having 70K, of course, but even other organizations like Seattle, Portland. I mean, I assume here is going to be a big turnout as well, because they already have a big following. So when you see that, and you see how football's been on decline a little bit because of the CTEs and the concussions, so I was reading like this wave of parents coming in now are kind of steering their kids away from football, and then transitioning to like a new sport. Some are dumping into soccer, but because of all that, football's hurting itself in a way. It's now going to help us grow too. So I definitely think, I even saw a quote from one of the UEFA presidents, how soccer in America might be one of the most dominant leagues here in this whole world per se. So it's definitely going to take time, but I think we've already had the resources. We've been had the resources, so it's just a matter of putting the right pieces in the right places and getting this going.
Right, exactly. I mean, honestly, I agree 100%. The game here is just going to take off because the resources in this country are, you know, above any other place, and then you look at what the league and the quality that it's been able to achieve in such a short time, because 25 years to start from scratch, then and it's just, I think it's a really good thing that's happening.
I think so too. So we have our first preseason game tomorrow, also playing NCFC this weekend, rivalry game. And I mean, just for the rest of the preseason, all these games, what's your mindset, mentality going into these games for starting tomorrow? And how important are they?
Yeah, I'm excited. For me, the most important thing is that we all learn the way that we should play together and come together as one. The decisions that we make, we're all making the same decision. The way we move off the ball, we understand this. The way when we have the ball, we understand this. Soccer too is a lot of repeating patterns, and that's what we need to learn is, those repetitions and the movement that we should be doing and the way we should all be playing. And I think that will be the biggest indicator if we're improving, is if we're getting that same mentality. Because again, bad passes will happen, turnovers will happen, bad dribbles will happen, but we need to all be on the same page and the same mentality. And when we go out tomorrow, that's the most important thing, is that we all understand when the ball is here, where should I be? And when we all know that, then the game, I feel like Louisville has been really good in this league, and I think that that's their strongest quality, is that when you play against them, you see that they all understand their roles, and I feel like that's what every good team in the world does, is identify their roles.
And they even had, I think 2 years ago, players coaching the team, and for like 7 months of the season, had players literally leading a professional team, and they still were winning and got the job done. So exactly what you're saying, that speaks volumes to how everyone from the top to bottom is all on the same page. And yeah, I think these games definitely have to be stepping stones for us. We already talked about us getting ready for the regular season, being in the right mentality, and so, like you said, from day one tomorrow, first preseason game, let's get everyone. Yes, we've had scrimmages, but this is a time to play against other people and just get this chemistry down right. Coming off a season like last season where we only won one game out of 15, the first 15, we can see now, I mean, I especially see how, comparison to last year's preseason to now's preseason, how the difference is and what not to do. And so we want to make sure, from literally from day one we've been here, make sure that's never happening again and we're all on the same page. That's what it comes down to, us being on the same page, because I feel like we're all split in little different ways last year from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest thing for any team, is to get everyone to buy into the same idea and same mentality.
What's your goals and aspirations?
Again, we have to make playoffs. We have to make playoffs. I've never, to be honest, set any personal goals, because I feel like if the team goals happen, then my personal goals would be achieved, because if as a team we're doing the right things, I'm going to score goals, you're going to score goals, the forward's going to score goals, we're going to get clean sheets if the team is doing the right thing, the first one is 3 goals, make playoffs, get to the final, win. Those are the 3 things that at the end of the year I'll judge myself by, and if I was able to achieve, and then the rest is just noise in the background.
Last year was the first year of my career I didn't make playoffs too, bro, so I'm making sure that's never happening again either, man. That hurts, right? Seeing everybody else practicing and playing when you're sitting on the couch, that's I understand everyone else been going through, so I really, make sure that's never happening again. You kind of have a favorite moment as a pro so far?
I mean, obviously the lifestyle, the lifestyle we live, we're very lucky and we're very blessed.
That's so true.
To sometimes it's a bit of a lie, the life we live, because we wake up and we go and we play soccer, and then we talk about soccer and we live soccer, and we're very lucky, and that's why it's important to work really hard, because there's a lot of people that would love to take your spot and would take it in a heartbeat, and that's in every sport, So my favorite moment from this game is just the lifestyle I get to live.
A lot of people, as you see, working in the corporate world and 9 to 5s, even doing 2 jobs and stuff like that. And like you're saying, we're very fortunate to have like a 3-hour window, 4-hour window max in our days. Sometimes we travel, of course, and yes, we're using our bodies more vigorously than everybody else, but still, just to have some time in the day and mental time and days off as well, it just really goes a long way. It was Valentine's week. This Friday, you have any shout out or any plans you doing?
Yeah, obviously I got my wife and a daughter, so I have to prepare twice. So yeah, just made some reservation at a couple of places. Just plan the day out, and hopefully by the end of the night, both my girls feel loved and feel appreciated for everything they do.
Daddy's girl, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Zell, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, Hugh. Thanks for everything.
Of course,
man.
of course.
Wish you luck. I think this is awesome for the sport, and obviously the insight that you're going to be able to give kids and people that don't know the game and people that want to learn the game will be massive.
Nah, I completely agree, and I appreciate that. If you don't follow Enzo on social media, make sure you follow him on Twitter, IG as well. Come out to an Independence game, say what's up to us. You definitely don't want to miss this exciting season. Backyard Footy is brought to you by the BGN network of podcasts. That's bgn.fm on the internet. You can also follow them on Twitter at the bgn.fm. Thank you so much. Comment, subscribe, let us know what you think about this episode. And like I said, I'm on 7:30 ESPN The Games network as well, so listen in on air, go to their site as well, and check out the show, and give us a follow and let us know. Appreciate you guys, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, dedication 3. Well, alright, here I go. I'm a rapper turned singer, and you can tell that he smoke. But I don't need my vocal cords, all I hit is C notes. N-E-R-D flow, I spaz if I'm pre-voke. I'm about to take and game past the remote. Money is everything, and it's every other thing. I'm part of the choir, that's the motto that my brothers sing. Cash is the right now, women are post-game, money over...